statement from the board. So write down this statement. Okay, so what is total probability theorem? If A is such an event which consists of mutually exclusive events, and how do mutually exclusive events exist in your Venn diagram? The Venn diagram should be like that all these elements or all these events should not have anything common in between them. Yes or no? That is the condition for the mutually exclusive events. So we can see from this diagram that A1, A2 and so on, I have drawn several parts and there is no intersection among these parts. That means what? What kind of events they are? They are mutually exclusive. Okay. Then if you want to know probability of A, so if A is such an event denoted by this red part, if A is such an event which is formed by some mutually exclusive events like this, you can see that its some part falls in A1, its some part falls in A2, similarly its some part falls in all the mutually exclusive events up to AN, then the probability of A is given by this term. And you can see we have used the conditional probability here. And obviously, because if I want to know probability of A, basically what I want to know is that red colored area, the area bounded by this red colored line. Yes, and what will be this red colored area is nothing but the combination of all these hatched parts. It is nothing but the combination or addition of all these hatched parts. Yes or no? Now if I look at this area, then what is this area? This area is the common part which is A and A1. Okay, so you can say that it is if A1 is the probability of this triangle, if A1 is the probability of this triangle, okay, then this region will be probability of A1 into probability of A given A1. Yes or no? Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand this thing? A probability of A is nothing but the summation of all these areas. Now if you want to calculate this particular area, then what do you need? You need this area, first of all A1's area, and then multiply it with the hatched part. Yes, similarly for all terms you will get this as your probability. Let's apply this to an example here. Listen it carefully. Okay, formula, remember, you can easily remember it, but you should be able to understand what is happening over here. So let's take an example in the form of an example only. So listen over here. let's say you have a set of 52 cards. You have 52 cards. Do you remember? Do you remember what are all the combinations among these 52 cards? Are you thorough with your cards knowledge? I know mechanical guys must be, because mechanical guys are pro in everywhere. But all of you, are you aware of these? What is cards? So A1 and A are not mutually exclusive. A1, A2, AN are mutually exclusive. Okay, A1 and A are not mutually exclusive, obviously. A is such an event which consists of all these mutually exclusive events. Yes, so let's discuss once again what are all those cards. So there are actually 4 suits like spade, club, diamond. For those who do not know about cards, I am writing over here, and then heart. So every suit is having 13 cards each. Okay. Spade, club, diamond and heart. Spade, if I draw it diagrammatically, so my drawing is not that much good, but you can understand it. It's a black colored card, something like this. Okay. Then there is a then we have this club as like this. Okay. Then diamond is this kind of a shape, and then heart, which everybody knows, which is broken for most of your people. So this is the heart. So we have 13 of each kind. These two are black colored, means club and spade are black colored, and these two are red colored. Diamond and heart are black colored. Red colored. Okay. Now what is these 13 card include? It includes the number 2 to 10. These are called your number cards. Then there is face cards. How many face cards are there in a particular suit? How many face cards are there in a particular suit? So 3 cards are face cards, which are queen, king and jack. Okay, and then there is a 1 card as ace. So these are the 13 set. So if I ask you how many black cards are there, so total black cards are 26, total red cards are 26, okay, and number cards are 2 to 10, face cards are 3 into 4 and so on. You can reply. Okay. Okay. So this is about the cards. Please write it down if anybody wants to write it down, and reply with done when you are done. Write this down. Okay, so let's discuss here. If I say that sample space is the space of 52 cards like this is 52 cards, and if I denote B as an event of getting a black card and R is an event of getting a red card, then you know that black and red card, these two B and R events will be mutually exclusive, because there is no such card which is both black also and red also. So both of these two events are mutually exclusive and can be represented something like this, black and red card. Now if I define K as the event of getting a king, if I define K as event of getting a king, then you know that a king can be red also and black also. So if I want to draw the set of king, then some of its part will fall into the set B and the other part will fall into the set R. Yes or no? Now you can say that this is K is nothing but your event A, which is consisting of mutually exclusive events B and R. Yes. Now let's say you don't know what is the probability of getting a king. Okay, actually we know what is the probability of getting king. Favorable cases are 4, total cases are 52, 4 by 52. But let's say you don't know what is the probability of getting a king, then what will you say? That probability of getting a king is nothing but the probability of this area plus probability of this area. Yes or no? Are you able to understand? Yes, they are exhaustive too. So what can I say? That probability of K is the same as probability of the region 1 plus probability of the region 2. Now if you look carefully, what is your region 1? What is your region 1? It is that part in the Venn diagram which is common to the set B and the set K. Yes, it is first marked by the first part is the part which is common to B and K, and common, if you want to denote by set, this is denoted by this B intersection K. Similarly, what is second part? Second part is the part which is common to red set and king set. So basically I can write it as R intersection K. Are you okay up till now? Yes. So this is what I have written. Now if I use the multiplication law if I use, can I write this PK is nothing but this value is yes or no? By using the multiplication law in the form of conditional probability, we can write the intersection as this quantity. Similarly, this value as this quantity. And if you look carefully, this is nothing but this formula that I have written over here. Yes. So basically it means this only, that if you want to find out the probability of A, then you need to add these hatched regions, okay, and these particular hatched regions are nothing but the intersection of A with A1, intersection of A with A2, similarly intersection of A with AN. And using the conditional probability, you can say that this intersection can be written like this, okay. And now you can substitute the values. PB means probability of getting a black card. What will be this value? This will be 26 by 52. 26 black cards among 52 cards. Now what is this probability? This probability is probability of getting a king when you know it is black colored. Okay, probability of getting a king when you know it is black colored. So you know that from black colored cards there are total 26 black colored cards, and from those 26 there are 2 black. So this is 2 by 26. Similarly, probability of red card is 26 by 52, and this will be probability of getting a king when you know it is red colored. So total red colored cards are 26, and among them 2 are king. So if you solve this, you will definitely get this to be 1 by 13, which was actually your answer. Yes. So this is how this total probability theorem helps us. Now you can use this formula also, or you can use this Venn diagram also to solve the problem. Basically this region, this red hatched region is nothing but the PA1 times PA given A1. Similarly, you can add the respective areas. Any doubt in this? Write down the example, copy it down and tell me when done. So if no doubt is there, then write down the next theorem, which is Bayes theorem. Next theorem, Bayes theorem. It is somewhat similar to this one only. So I am changing only the thing over here. What is changed here? So the statement is same as the previous one. If A is an event which consists of mutually exclusive such events, then probability of sum AI by A is given by write down the theorem. AI by A is equal to PAI by A P of A by AI. So to understand this theorem, let's take another example, and this time the example is basically a series of events. So a series of events is such that first experiment that we are doing is tossing of a coin. So basically there can be 2 events, head and tail. Okay, first experiment that we are doing is of tossing a coin, experiment 1, and then we are doing an experiment 2, which is selecting a ball from the given bag. So there are 2 bags actually. there are two bags in which bag 1 is having 5 red ball and 3 black balls, and the bag 2 is having 3 red ball and 5 black balls. So what is happening over here? First of all, you are tossing the coin, and then if you get the head, then you go into bag 1 and pick out a ball, and or if tails occurs, then you go in bag 2 and draw a ball. Okay, understood this thing or not? What is happening? First of all, you are tossing a coin. Now depending upon what are you getting, you will do your next experiment. If head has occurred, then you will go into bag 1 and pick out a ball. If tail has occurred, then you will go into bag 2 and a ball will be drawn out. So basically, the final result depends upon what happened in the earlier experiment. Yes? If I try to draw the Venn diagram, or if I now ask you what is the probability of getting a red ball, so you can easily think of this Venn diagram. Okay, I am considering the event of getting a red ball. So red ball can be taken out from bag 1 or bag 2. Yes or no? And from bag 1, you can say what is the probability of getting the red ball. So probability of getting the red ball is 5 by 8. This area denotes the probability of getting the red ball from bag 1. Which area? This hatch area. And similarly from bag 2, probability of getting the red ball is 3 by 8. So this will be the area for getting the red ball from bag 2. Now you can directly see probability of getting a red ball mutually consists of two parts. Now if I want to find out the probability of red, then it is the area of this part plus area of this part. Now what is this part? This part is nothing but the probability of getting the bag 1 into multiplied by the probability of getting a red ball from bag 1. Similar to the total probability theorem. Can I write it like this? Probability of bag 1 into probability of getting a red ball from bag 1. Similarly, this area is nothing but probability of selecting bag 2 into probability of getting a red ball from bag 2. Are you able to understand? I have just used the total probability theorem because red ball can be taken out from two mutually exclusive events of occurrence from bag 1 and of occurrence of bag 2. Or using total probability theorem, I have written down like this. Now what is the probability of bag 1? Probability of bag 1 is the same as probability of getting a head. So what will I write? Probability of bag 1 is half. And this value we have already seen. If you are going into bag 1, then probability of getting red ball will be 5 by 8. Similarly, probability of 2 means probability of getting a tail, and this will be 3 by 8. So the answer is 8 by 16, that is 1 by 2. Understood this thing? Still, I haven't used the Bayes theorem. I have just used your total probability theorem to get what is the area of this red part, which basically denotes what is the probability of red getting a red ball. If any doubt is there, please ask right now. Okay, so you have no doubt. I'm assuming that. Okay, so I've not used the Bayes theorem, but let's say what happens is, now if any students joins in right now, then what will he see? He will see just that I have a red ball in my hand. I was doing these experiments, and if I have taken out a red ball, and if the students just enters into the class right now, then what will he see? That I have a red ball. Now if he asks the question that okay, you got a red ball, but what is the probability that head occurred? Are you able to understand? We know that red ball has been taken out, but what is the probability that head was the reason that red ball occurred? Then we can use your Bayes theorem. Basically what he's trying to ask is the same as, you know that red has occurred, then what is the probability of head? And probability of head exactly denotes what? The probability of the bag 1 only. Yes, so if this reverse questioning has to be done, like you know what is the end result, but if you want to know what was the past event that occurred or what is the probability of the past event, then we will use this Bayes theorem. That's why it's also known as reverse probability. You are going into the past events and finding out the probability. Then you can again look at this diagram. You know that red ball has occurred means total probability or the sample space. You know red ball has occurred means sample space will be what? Sample space will be this red hatched area. So I'll write sample space is nothing but red hatched area, which is nothing but the probability of getting a red ball. And from this red hatched area, which is the part which is falling in region 1, so this is the part which is falling in region 1. Yes or no? And again we can write this part which is falling in region 1. We can say this is nothing but 1 intersection R, and this 1 intersection R can be written down like this. That is 1 into R by 1 divided by P by R. If you look carefully, then this is nothing but your Bayes theorem. You can see that this summation is actually your total probability, which I have written over here PR, and this quantity is nothing but obtained by this intersection again, which is like this. So probability of getting bag 1 when you know red ball has occurred will be equal to 1 by 2 into R by 1. We have already calculated, it was 5 by 8, and 1 by 2 means 5 by 8. Any doubt? If no doubt, then see the next question. This probability 1 by R, okay, it is obtained when you know red ball has occurred means denominator will be this total area bounded by this R region. That this is nothing but the conditional probability formula that I have used over here. So PR is nothing but obtained as this total probability theorem PR. Okay, and then I have written down this as 1 intersection R. Now 1 intersection R is nothing but this area, which can also be written down in using conditional probability as P1 into PR by 1. So whatever we have studied till now, multiplication law, conditional probability and total probability, we can come at this result of Bayes theorem. Okay, so let's come to the question. Suppose that a shop has an equal number of LED bulbs of 2 different types. Probability that LED bulb chosen lasting more than 100 hours given that it is type 1. So basically, if I draw a Venn diagram for this situation, so the LED bulb chosen can be either of type 1 or type 2. Yes, so it can be of type 1 or it can be of type 2. Now it is given that, okay, what will be this area? Can you tell me what will be this area? Yes, the probability will be half and half. Basically, these two areas will be half and half. Why? Because in the question it is mentioned that equal number of bulbs of 2 different kinds. So, if the total number of bulbs are X, then these will be X by 2, these will be X by 2. The probability will be half and half. Now, it is given that the probability of a LED bulb lasting more than 100 hours given that it is of type 1. So, in type 1, if the bulb is lasting more than 100 hours, then that probability is 0.7. That probability is 0.7. So this is 0.7. Yes. So if I write like this, this was 0.5. This was also 0.5. And this region is 0.7. And then you have been given that. And given that it is of type 2, it is 0.4. If it is type 2, then it is 0.4. So it is somewhat like this. This red region is denoting the area which is representing the bulbs which are lasting for more than 100 hours. the probability that an LED bulb chosen uniformly lasts more than 100 hours. So basically you are required to find that will the bulb last for more than 100 hours or not. So again, this event of lasting mutually it consists of mutually exclusive events of this region and this region. So you can say that by applying total probability theorem, probability of lasting of any bulbs is nothing but the probability of this area plus probability of this area. So what will be this area? This total was 0.5 and it is 0.7 times 0.7 of 0.5. Okay, so we will write like this. It is nothing but probability of first and then probability of lasting when you know it is the bulb 1. Similarly, yes, and using this total probability we can write this probability of 1 was 0.5, this was 0.7, this was 0.5 again, and this was 0.4. So 0.35 plus 0.2, 0.55 is your final answer. 0.55 is your final answer. Next question. Try the next question. Okay, so this answer is also 0.55. Let's check. So this question is saying about a group which consists of equal number of men and women. Equal number of men and women. And if a person is randomly chosen, then what is its probability of being employed? What is its probability of being employed? Again, if I look for the Venn diagram, then the person selected can be men and women. Okay, and because it is given that they are equal numbers, so this area and this area both are 0.5. Now 20% of the men are unemployed. 20% of the men are unemployed. So if I look at this region, so this will be the region denoting the 20% of men which are unemployed, and then it is written that 50% of the women are unemployed, means this region will denote that part of the women which are unemployed. Now what have you been asked that if the person is selected randomly, then what is the probability of him being employed? You can directly see it is nothing but the area of this and this part which is not hatched. This time we are required the area which is not hatched. So how will you find that area? So first of all, this area will be, this M total area is 0.5. So 0.5 of what? This quantity, and this will be given by, if this was 20%, it was 80%. So 0.5 of 8 plus this will be what? This is again 0.5, and this area is the 50% of 0.5. That means again 0.5. So what are you getting here is, you will get this is 0.4, this is 0.25. So 0.65 is the final answer. %60 plus 30% plus 20%. Okay, it's 10% over here. 10%. Yes, understood this one? This question, have you understood it? Employed part was required, this red part was unemployed. So employed part will be area of this part plus area of this part. Area of this part is 50, 80% of 0.5, so 80% of 0.5, and then area of this part is 50% of 0.5, so 0.5 into 0.5. Okay, now attempt that question. I'll repeat the question. 3 companies XYZ supply computer. The percentage of computer supplied by them and the probability of those being defective. So X is supplying 60%, and of those 60%, 0.01 are found to be defective. Okay. Similarly for Y and Z, now it was given that if the computer obtained is defective, what is the probability that it was supplied by Y? Now will it use the Bayes theorem or total probability theorem? What we should use here? What should be used here? Bayes theorem or total probability theorem? So yes, very good. Bayes theorem will be used here. Why? Because you are given that it is defective. In total probability theorem, we are not given any condition. We are not given any condition. We are just asked about some event. But whenever the condition will be given to you, that will be Bayes theorem. So here conditional probability is asked. That means it will be using Bayes theorem. So let me see the answer. So all of you are getting varied answer. So answer is answer is 0.4. Final answer 0.4. Okay, so let's solve this. Again, I'll solve this using Venn diagram. So this time the chosen computer can be from either X, Y or Z. So X is 60%, so let's say this part denotes X. Y is 30%, so let's say this part is Y, and this part is Z. Okay, so it has been given that this computer chosen can be from X, Y and Z, like this. Now it has been given of this 60%, 0.01 probability is there that they will be defective. Okay, so if I talk about the probability, so probability of this is 0.6 because 60%, it is 0.3 and it is 0.1. Now 0.11 region will be 0.01 region will be of defective one. So this is denoting the defective part. Again for Y it is 0.02. So let me say this is 0.02, and for this one this is 0.03. So this is 0.03. Now what is given to you that if the part is or if the computer is defective, if the computer is defective means it will fall in this blue boundary. Yes or no? If you are given that the computer is defective, the computer will definitely lie in this blue boundary. So the sample space for this will be the probability of computer being defective. Here it is 10% over here. Okay, so this will be your sample space that if you know that the actual product is defective, then what is the probability of Y? Again, this Y, what will be the region corresponding to the defective computer from Y? What is the region corresponding to the defective computer from Y? So this double hatchet is the region which is corresponding to the defective computer of Y. So I'll say this is nothing but what? PY intersection D, and PY intersection D can again be written as like this: probability of getting Y into probability of getting D intersection Y. Why I have written over like this? Because I know the probability of Y, and this is the probability of being defective. So just solve this 0.3 D given Y. Okay, so this will be what? 0.02. 0.02. Probability of D will be what? This part plus this part plus this part, total probability. So this part is nothing but 0.01 times 0.6. 0.01 times 0.6 plus this part is nothing but 0.02 times 0.3. 0.3 plus this is 0.03 times 0.1. Okay, solve this. So I can write this as 0.3 into 2, just removing the decimals from all of them. So it will be 0.6 into 1 plus 0.3 into 2 plus 0.1 into 3. .6 divided by 0.6 plus 0.6 is 1.2. 1.2 plus 0.3, 1.5. So final answer is 2 by 5. 2 by 5 is the final answer. So actually you can say whether you are using first the conditional probability or not, or even you are applying this formula or not, it is not necessary what step you follow. It is the thing that you should be able to understand which area you are required. So in this case you were required this part, which is for this part the sample space was this total red region. Okay, so an examination consists of two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Probability of failing in paper 1 is 0.3. Probability of failing in paper 1 is 0.3, and that in paper 2 is 0.2, and that in paper 2 means that the probability of failing in paper 2 is 0.2. Now given that a student has failed in paper 2, the probability of failing in paper 1 is 0.6. Now do not get confused that the paper 1's probability is asked 2 times. See the question carefully. It is saying given that a student has failed in paper 2 means the condition is applied now that if you know he has failed in paper 2, then the probability of failing in paper 1 will be 0.6. Then the probability of student failing in both the papers. What do you mean by both the papers? What should I write here? What is required? Both the papers means intersection of 1 and 2 is required. Yes or no? Both the papers failing means one should also fail and 2 should also fail. So 1 intersection 2 is required. Okay. So how to solve this? Very easy. Use this conditional probability. So P1 given 2 multiplied by P2 will be the intersection. So 0.6 times 0.2, that is 0.12 is the answer. Understood everyone?